That was really interesting conversation. Thanks very much.
Wow, that's a really interesting question.
Ben, I find it very emotional to see these brothers talking and each in their own way trying to figure it out if they represent a problem for the other, you know? I don't know if I'm explaining myself, but
Hmm.
Braxton is trying to figure out if he's a problem to Christian and Christian is a problem to his brother.
Yes,
That it
I think
speaks
that's
to
true.
how, yeah, so that tells me how we often take the blame when something doesn't work or if we don't understand something. So I would like to know what are your thoughts on that because I think it's very moving and
I
emotional.
think that's very observant. It's like you're right. I think Christian is very worried and aware that like maybe some of the difficulty he has communicating with his brother or feeling close to him is because he makes his brother he makes it life difficult for his brother. It sounds to me and it seems to me when I watch John's performance that he has a similar feeling like is it me? Is it something I've done that's causing us to be estranged? And what I think is sort of beautiful about the movie that I didn't see until I saw the movie put together is that it really feels to me like we tend to want to hear from somebody else that they love us and that they see us in ways that we are used to hearing that or that we understand. And it's a very difficult thing to sort of set that aside and see the other person like for the way they express love and the way they want to hear it and to actually understand, oh, I see, that means you love me. It's not what I was hoping for or what I was expecting, but it's the way you're expressing this. And that is the foundation on which to kind of build a relationship. And I think that's some of where the repair starts in this movie.
Well, you used the operative word, which is connect. Christian is trying to connect. He's trying to find love. He's trying to find human connection. That the scene on the airstream where Christian is sort of breaking down Braxton's disconnected life, this lone wolf character, and Braxton says, "Are we talking about me or are we talking about you?" In essence, like they're sort of so diametrically opposed, these two, like almost like in opposite corners of a room. They're a lot more similar
Mm.
than they are different to each other. I just don't think they know that, or certainly Brax doesn't. So Brax is trying to connect with his brother in a way that's difficult because he's yet to really accept who Christian is. Because you have to accept people who they are, right? You can't. So I think that he gets frustrated, and a lot of it is his resentments from when they were children, going all the way back to that. And we sort of put a microscope and an autopsy on their backstory, and but that's what I was going for was for them to. You kept using the word fix, like they're trying to fix it with each other, but they
Mhm.
both have very different ways and approaches to doing that. And really, in the end, all they really need is Chris. All Brax needs is like a thank you and I'm sorry. It's amazing how I'm sorry or thank you can just evaporate and eliminate so much
Yeah.
resentment. There could be an absence of love, and then all of a sudden, it's all that absence is gone, and it's just blooming with love, with just the right words between people who really love each other. They
Yeah.
just trying to figure it out. So that's it's complicated, but that's really what I was just trying to go for on the most human level. That's what we were trying to explore and go for.
We see your character, Mary Beth, caught between these two very peculiar brothers. But I think she also represents how difficult it is for all of us to communicate and connect with others when we are carrying pain or guilt or when we don't know what we are doing. So I would like to ask you, how would you describe your character in this movie, considering that you were part of the first film, but in this movie it's like more, I don't know, more deep, the connection with your character.
Yeah, I love your observation around that. I've always thought of Mary Beth as a bit of a loner in the way that in the first movie, Christian is a loner and Brax is a loner. They're all people that are kind of quite internal and isolated, and in a way it's like I can just do this by myself, and in fact it's easier to do this alone, but that's burdensome. That's hard to sort of be a party of one and move through life just on your own. And Anais, same thing, also a sort of just internal individual person. And so I've always loved the idea of all of those characters are kind of cut from the same cloth in that way. And it's, you know, what then happens when the characters like that have to come together and have to work together. And with Mary Beth and the brothers, I mean, at a certain point, I think she does have that moment of, you know what, guys, I don't need you. And it is actually easier if I just go and do this by myself. And you're making this complicated and messy for me. But I love that idea that there are deeper motivations to these characters beyond the surface, that they are more interesting, they are more complicated. They're not just kind of run-of-the-mill archetypes, that there's some depth to these characters, and it's what makes the movie more interesting. It is not just an action thriller. It's got more depth and interest than that, I think.
Both of you are the heart of this story, and I think it's also very moving to see how, much like his brother, for Braxton, the lack of meaningful connections affects him on many levels. And I think that he is a very, very complex character, and he's funny, and he is like, I don't know, beautiful. So, John, how would you describe this like journey for Braxton that led him back to his brother and trying to fix this relationship and connect with him?
I think also because of the world that they were brought up in, and their fluency with violence and how that was sort of put upon them. I think they only know a very sort of singular life. There's not that many people that they could have around them that would understand that, would tolerate that, would be able to deal with that in any sort of way. So they're both sort of plagued with this loneliness. And I think for Braxton, it's this interesting thing where he's so in awe of his brother, of his capabilities, of his ability to do things that he would never be able to do. But at the same time, something that I find so unbelievably brotherly, he also thinks he's like a complete and utter idiot. Because like, here I am, like I am the answer. I'm sitting right in front of you. Like, you're lonely, dude. I'm right here. What's up? Like, what's the problem? I think that, you know, that they do kind of complete each other, you know, as I think, you know, brothers do. And you know, there's an unbelievable amount of frustration and pain, but when those moments of joy happen, when they start to see each other, when they actually can kind of celebrate each other, they're so utterly fulfilling. And I think that's something that's you rarely get to kind of express on camera, especially with two men.
I also think that Anais is a very complex character because she remains a mystery throughout the film, and she's incredibly intriguing because she seems to feel no fear, and she's highly skilled in combat, very, very skilled. And in
Just
the
like
end,
me in real life. Just like me in real life, yeah.
and in the end, without giving away spoilers, we come to understand that fear is deeply connected to our past, you know, and when we feel fear is because we have some experience, you know, and that's very interesting with your character. So what are your thoughts on that complexity with Anais?
Gavin had told me, you know, he's like, when I read the script, it reads like the T-1000, and I don't want that. Like, yes, she is this killer. Yes, she is a predator. Yes, she has this. But how do you give it something else? How do you make it more layered and more complicated? And that was a bit of a departure for me from just other characters that I've played. And also, I mean, you don't see a lot of, sometimes you don't even see men doing that necessarily, let alone women. So it was extra different for me. I felt like I had the privilege to operate in a very different space for women on camera. But I just watched a lot of performances from actors who I respect, who said a lot without saying anything. Like Javier Bardem and Isabelle Huppert, and actors who are just really good at conveying an intensity without necessarily saying much.